And it is a good morning. You're listening to Power Talks with Melanie and Beth Ann in the morning, where talk is real, truth is in the talk, and there is power in truth. And we believe that power talks, and we believe the truth will set you free. Good morning, Melanie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, and good morning to you and everyone.
Well, it is a good morning. It's a cold morning. Winter refuses to let go, and on Easter Sunday here in the state of Missouri, we had rain, sleet, and snow. We had it all. We didn't have sunshine, though.
We didn't have sunshine, but it was a cloudy day, but it was a very beautiful day. I tried to get up early to see the sunrise yesterday morning, but it was cloudy, and all I saw was the big old moon. So I went back to bed. No.
Well, we had events going all weekend, which was good. I had one of my sons and his family came over to visit with. They brought lunch. You can't beat that with a stick, you know. They brought lunch to us on Saturday afternoon, and we spent the afternoon just visiting. He has 2 daughters, and we just had a good time. And then Sunday was full of Easter events. We went to church early, and then we had breakfast at church, and we had Sunday school, and then there was another church service, but we snuck out on the second service so we could get things ready, because we always spend Easter at my husband's mother's, and she's getting up in her 90s, and she's still trying to host. But her daughters all pitch in and help, and so we did that. And then we had one of the boys and his family come over after that. And so we didn't get to see all our family, got to see some of it, got a little more one-on-one visiting and such, and enjoyed Resurrection Day is what I like to call it. We enjoyed Resurrection Day. So it was great. It was great. And we're really tired of winter, and we're trying to let it get away from us. So I don't know where to begin. Do you have something to get us started? I've got something I'm really kind of excited about, but
well, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we've been talking about the youth that are so misdirected and being used and propaganded over this Second Amendment issue and gun control. Well, here is a rally being held by students that actually put the rally together. The students themselves did, pro-Second Amendment. This was students at Florida Rock Ridge High School, and they held a walkout on Friday in support of the Second Amendment. The reports that the walkout was organized by Chloe Deaton, a sophomore, and Anna Delaney, a junior. And about 75 students, now it wasn't the big thing that, the Democrats helped host, but about 75 students participated in the event, and they had T-shirts on with "My rights don't end with your feelings begin," which is a really great quote. Another one had a quote on, which is a quote from Ronald Reagan. This is their posters. "The Constitution does not say the government shall decree the right to keep and bear arms. The Constitution says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." It was just really, I watched a little bit of it on YouTube, and it was inspiring that these kids, they're still kids, they're teenagers, but they were carrying their flag, "Don't tread on me." And the boy that had that knew where that was coming from, and he said the governor in their state just passed a law that he can no longer buy a gun because he's only 18 years and younger. And so he says, this directly affects me, and that's why he had the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. So I thought it was exciting that these kids seem to know their stuff. Not all of them that they interviewed seemed to realize the depth of the situation, but obviously some of them did, and I thought that was pretty exciting. The future is in the youth. The future is in the youth, and we need to realize that.
Yes, it is. Here was something a little interesting that I just now saw. We remember how the Confederate monuments were being torn down and so forth. Now statues offensive to Native Americans are poised to topple across the United States. And it's all started with this little town. I'll let you guess where it's at.
I have no clue. Tell me.
California.
Oh, yes, of course it is.
in this little town called Arcata, was the first U.S. city to ban the sale of genetically modified foods. Now, they call this place the most liberal places in the nation. They say that they banned the sale of genetically modified foods. I don't know why that would be considered liberal. The first to elect a majority Green Party city council, and one of the first to allow marijuana farming before pot was legal. So I'm not quite sure how that all comes down to being liberal, but on the other hand, no other city has taken down a monument to a president for his misdeeds, but they're poised to do just that. The target is an 8.5-foot bronze likeness of William McKinley. He was the president at the turn of the last century and stands accused of directing the slaughter of native peoples in the U.S. and abroad. And so now they're looking to this guy Peters heads the Arcata-based Seventh Generation Fund for Indigenous People, and he called McKinley a proponent of settler colonialism that savaged, raped, and killed. And so this little town is. Yeah.
Well, if anybody has a reason to complain, it's our Native Americans. If anybody has a reason to complain about being stole from, but yeah, that's interesting. You know, we just can't seem to get out of the past, and there's a reason for that. Because if you have your past, if you know where you came from, you know where you're going. And if you ignore history, you're going to repeat history. So why were they going to destroy the history? They want us to repeat it. They want us to go back. They want us to. It's amazing to me how ignorant they are.
Well, there's other states that are going to be joining the movement. Kalamazoo, Michigan, they said last month it's going to take down a park monument of a Native American in a headdress kneeling before a westward-facing pioneer. In New Mexico, El Paso, statues of Conquistador Juan de Onet have become subjects of renewed debate. And we already know that the councilmen in Baltimore, they vowed to replace the smashed Columbus monument, something that better reflects current day values. Oh, good Lord. I can't imagine what current day. We don't have any. So
it's crazy.
It is crazy, you know, but so anyway, I found that interesting because I believe this is pretty much the first president statue that will be pulled down, I believe. So.
Well, I guess they have nothing else to do but go back and destroy. I have an article here, too, that really goes back to this Second Amendment thing, and I apologize for that, jumping back and forth. But I think the turmoil that this nation is in and the story that you just shared is so showing of that. We're in such a turmoil, and we just don't seem to remember who we are, whose we are, and where we came from. Well, Laura Ingraham had tweeted out something against something. It wasn't really against him. She was just she went at David Hogg, the young boy that's really being propaganded. You know, he's really speaking out. I said he needed his liberal diaper changed, but he called for a boycott on her. He was whining about not being accepted to some college or something, and she made a comment about him whining. And so he got mad. And so sponsors, advertisers are pulling their support from her show. And it's getting kind of serious, I guess. And so another guy on CNN, he made the comment, what is his name, Stelter, that he thinks this is a dangerous path to go down where everybody starts boycotting everybody. I think boycotting you're right. If you don't like something and their advertisers are sponsoring it, such as Planned Parenthood or something, I would try to stop buying the product or let them know that I don't appreciate my money going in that direction. And but anyway, there's a war going on between Laura Ingraham and this David Hogg, this teenager. And I I don't know. It's just kind of a mess. But and now they're tearing down more monuments and more history from the United States, which is very, very dangerous and very, very communist. Very.
Very much so. And you know what, I agree with you. I mean, if you want to boycott someone, but the sad thing about it is most of these, these businesses and their advertising, they know what's going on, and so they're not doing it because of the issue. They're not doing it to make a stand against the issue.
They're doing it because of all the phone calls.
They're getting it because of the phone calls. I mean, and it's...
And when it dies down, they'll come back. They did the same thing to Sean Hannity. They may not all come back, but they will come back. And this David Hogg went after McCain this weekend on Twitter about his money that he receives from NRA. So it's really all at the NRA, and it's of course we know. I'm a member. I'm a lifetime member. Somebody actually gifted me the lifetime membership. I have been a member of them, and so I'm a lifetime member of the NRA. But sometimes I think, and now with where we are, you can really see we compromised too much too long ago. And now here we are ready to compromise again. Now here we are with people pointing at the NRA as if they're the ones that pulled the triggers at these mass shootings, and it has nothing to do with I think it was in 1990 when they started the gun-free school zones. And we know that the gun-free zones are where all these mass shootings happen. The guns were there before them. Before they did that, the guns were there. So what changed? And besides the fact that we are no longer a moral nation, what changed? So,
they always go after the NRA. Oh, they're the biggest lobbyists. No, they're not. What about What about the most powerful would be the Round Table, which includes bankers and they're the most powerful. They have more money, and it's just. It's
HSUS and PETA and ASPCA. They're huge dollars. And there was an awful lot of lobbying going on for the Obamacare. Those insurance companies and a lot of the medical companies, they were after that because they saw dollar signs. And it kind of fell apart.
Well, London has one of the strongest gun control, in the world, and yet their murder rate has overtaken New York City's for the first time ever. 12 people have been killed in just 19 days. So either New York City's crime is going down, and it doesn't matter, and it's stabbing. They're being stabbed. February for London marked the first month, and look at the immigration, too. You're getting various cultures. Cultures don't always mix well, and I'm not saying that's the issue, but I mean it makes you should question. But February marked the first month in history books that London had more murders than the American city, which is New York City, with a total of 15 homicides. Out of the 15, this is just February, out of the 15 killed, 9 were aged 30 or younger. March there were 22 murders, which is likely to match, if not beat, New York numbers. So.
Well, and the president had made a comment this weekend over DACA, and I think that's quite interesting. And it just seems like nothing's ever going to die down. But we are going into a commercial break, and your calls are welcome. You're listening to Power Talks, and the number to call is 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. And Melody and Beth Ann will be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Have you seen the Left Behind movies? Have you read the Left Behind fictional book series? Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. Because they see the world stage shaping to fulfill what they have been led to believe is sound biblical interpretation, a left behind rapture scenario, this false view of prophecy is reinforced in the mind, not only of its adherents, but also includes those who have been merely exposed to the specific media. Is it possible that false prophecy can be fulfilled? The rapture theories have always been in dispute. Pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib disputes have risen up in exclusively evangelical circles of recent history, so that when true believers don't suddenly disappear, this element will easily go by the wayside when all see a new Jewish temple begin to be built. Will this be part of the great delusion that will come upon the whole earth? It seems that this great prophetic delusion has already overcome practically the entire American evangelical and Christian world. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. To learn more, visit crosstheborder.org. That's CROSS, crosstheborder.org.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
And we are heading into spring, they keep telling us. We're still going to have some pretty cold weather this week, and maybe it'll clear up in the latter part of the week. We should do a weather report. You know, we're always complaining about the weather. We should do a weather report.
Instead of Power Talks, it'll be Power
Weather. Beth and Melody and their flip-flops. Is it flip-flop weather or not? No. Well, if you listen to Melody, it's always flip-flop weather no matter what.
I truly don't wear flip-flops that often.
When I come up there, by golly, you best have a pair of flip-flops. All right, we're enough silly. Everybody's getting ready to tune us out. I have this article. What's that? You included? She always tunes me out. I'm used to it. Remember, I raised 5 sons and have a husband. I'm the only female. I got tuned out a lot. Trump declared no more DACA deal. He's putting his foot down and he's angry and he's saying, no more deal. It's off the table. My deal is off the table. And I kind of see his side of this. You know, the Democrats were all about DACA. We got to do this and do that. And when he put a deal out there, they ignored it and they wouldn't do anything about it. And then he put a better deal out there and they still wouldn't do anything about it. He said, so they really don't care about DACA. And then he's telling he's back on the wall. He wants to build a wall. And he wants to have the Senate declare the nuclear whatever it is and get the money for this wall. And then he talks about Mexico and what they're doing. You know, Mexico has immigration laws that they enforce. So when we're talking about this open wall and all these people, oh, it should be free, da, 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 da. It's not free going the other direction. And if you go the other direction and you don't have permission, you're in big, deep trouble, pretty much in any country. Yet they think our borders should be all open. And, you know, the folks, and you and I had mentioned this before with DACA, they had X amount of years to get things taken care of. And maybe a few of them did, but a lot of them did not. And now they want all this forgiveness to stay here in this country. Well, if they love this country and they want to stay in this country, why didn't they do whatever needed to be done to become citizens during that time, and or to become at least legal here? But they didn't do that. You know, I had another one, and I don't think I printed it off. They were doing this protest, immigration makes America great. And I agree with that to a point. If those who are immigrating here want to become a part of America, truly want to become a part of America, but they don't want to become a part of America. They want to be helped. They want America to help them survive, and that's probably putting that a little bit too simply and broadly. But they take advantage of everything that goes on in this nation, but they don't want to become a citizen. They want to vote, but they don't want to become a citizen. They want to take advantage of the of some of the handouts we have, but they don't want to become a citizen. And you know, I kind of see, and you know, they go on talking about the drug war, and he does mention in this article about the drugs that are coming across this border, and I saw Lou Dobbs, and of course Ann Coulter's been pretty upset with the president going at him about this, particularly about the drugs, and she had statistics on, of course everybody's got statistics of what drugs are coming across that border. I've always said that the reason the drug war isn't being dealt with and won is because the DC occupiers are making money off of it. And I still believe that. I still believe that's why he's having to deal with what he calls establishment Republicans and the Democrats over the border, over immigration, over trade, over everything, because they're making money. DC occupiers occupying offices and cutting deals. They're making money off of what they're doing there. Those others who are lobbying, they've lobbied money in the pockets, and they owe these people, and they're gonna fight it all tooth and toenail to the very end, and it's a matter of who will win. You know.
Well, you know, I was listening. I don't even remember who I was listening to this morning. I was just, you know, watching the news and so forth. And it truly is amazing how these people that are who are to the left and in this immigration, I mean, it's just like, oh, we think that everyone that come to this country illegally, they're coming in here because they're being persecuted, and you know, they're coming here to escape dangers. And I'm thinking, what are these people talking about? Even if you come into a country, you're supposed to prove. You still come here legally if you're escaping some sort of persecution from your country. Yeah, you have to prove it. You just don't come across the borders and try to, you know,
say they're after me.
You say they're after me, and I'm thinking, what? And nobody ever challenges them. You know, they all try to go back, and it's just. It's like, where does this thinking? Well, there is no thinking. I get that, but it's baffling.
It's a matter of what, when, and how. So when we had, and you and I watched it, we're both old enough that we watched what was his name? Elion. Was it Elion?
Yes, something like that.
And how they were ripping him out of his uncle and his aunt's arms, because his father, which his mother was escaping and died doing so, wanted him back. So where were the Democrats then? they were the ones ripping him out of the arms of the custody of the uncle and aunt that the mother brought him to. And they knew that what she was doing was escaping. So where were the Democrats then?
Yeah.
With all their immigration and we love all immigrants and blah, 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 blah. And the children. Where were they then? Ripping him from the hand. I mean, guns blazing. We all still see that image of that scared child. So he went back to the communist regime, went back to Castro, and that's what he is now. Brown, Governor Brown, Biden, when he was a senator, and I've said this so many times, they were adamantly against any refugees coming in here from Vietnam after the Vietnam War. We don't want those people here. And now they want to be a sanctuary state, sanctuary city, sanctuary nation. It's all in who they get their money from. It's all in where you are at that moment, money and votes. And it has nothing to do with the safety or the best, what is best for the American people, whether it's the economy, the safety, or otherwise of this nation. It has everything to do with what's best lining their pockets at that moment, or their ballot boxes, and that's just the truth of it. It's a little broad, a little generalized, but that is just the truth of it. It isn't about the DACA. It's not about the immigrants. It's not about their safety, and it's not, or they'd get rid of the MS-13 gang if it was about that. But they don't even want to get rid of them. They don't even want to get rid of the bad guys. No, I just get aggravated. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I know.
There's such hypocrites. It just drives me nuts. But.
I know. I know. They are. But sometimes I always try to see if there's any, possible reasoning behind. And so, I look, and there's never, there never is. I mean, they're just us. They're just hypocrites, period. And, yeah. Well, you're the common denominator.
Nobody brings that up to Governor Brown.
No.
Why were you so against the refugees from Vietnam who were escaping persecution? We knew it. We left them there to die. We knew it. Where was he then? Why are all these immigrants better than those refugees who we had created a bad place for? We didn't create the bad place in Mexico. Their governments created that. It's a falling economy. It's a corrupt government just like ours. Well, maybe not just like ours, but corrupt is corrupt. Well,
here's an interesting thing. We have, this is out of Bloomberg News, Trump invited Putin to White House for a summit.
All right.
Summit preparations haven't begun after diplomatic expulsions. U.S. President Donald Trump didn't just propose a summit meeting to Putin. When he called the Russian leader last month, he invited him to the White House. And that was all before everyone was kicking everybody out of their countries. So we'll have to see. But so if
that's when it's time to talk.
Yep.
Time to have a little chat. That is interesting. I hadn't heard that one.
The prospect of Putin visiting Washington is likely to sharpen divisions in the U.S. over relations with Russia amid continued tensions regarding the Kremlin meddling in the 2016 elections. It really doesn't say much more. I think that the headline was the biggest. It's all you really needed to know about this whole article. Is just a lot of filler in, with what's been going on. But that's kind of interesting.
But it's Trump that's put the hand out there.
Yes.
He's the one that did the invite. Okay.
Yes.
Putin didn't invite Trump over there.
No.
Putin didn't invite Trump. Trump invited Putin.
And I'm not even
because
sure.
Because he's warmed up to him,
And I'm not even...
collusion going on.
And I'm not even sure if that was before the North Korea decided to Was the election?
But
was the election? Was the Russian election before Putin came out and said we have these weapons and anyone who messes with our allies? Yeah.
Yes,
So
I think so. I think it was before that. He had a bigger batter bomb. We have a bigger batter bomb. That was me, not him. That was my phraseology.
But I think there's a lot to be discussed, and because things do seem to be trailing off in all these various directions. I don't know how many were killed. In the Gaza Strip this weekend? Since last week, I heard 50. So who knows how many? It just seems like everywhere there's tensions, everywhere there's discord, everywhere there is, which doesn't set good. I mean, it feels like something is being set up for that black swan to be flying in and hitting us. There's a black swan that is taking off. He's flapping his wings, and we're in turmoil, but we've always been in the turmoil. It's just that the United States wasn't taking the lead. We were actually just letting people walk all over us, and I don't know where we're at now. I don't know that everything. I'm certain he's not doing everything correct. I'm positive of that, but you've got to show some strength, and at least we're trying to do that, and you've got to show willingness to talk and negotiate. And he seems, when I say he, I'm talking about President Trump, seems to be doing that. At least he's putting that foot forward, to act tough and yet say we're willing to negotiate and talk, not I'm just going to shoot a rocket over there if you don't shut up, but depending on where over there is. But anyway. Certainly everyone is flexing their muscles, so we'll just see who has the biggest one.
Bigger batter bomb. We hope not. We hope it doesn't come to that. Maybe the art of the deal will take place, and I got a big kick out of Ann Coulter making fun of his art of the deal. She said she wished he'd have done that with somebody else, meaning Congress and Ryan and such. Oh, I was over Stormy. They said he paid Stormy somebody paid Stormy $130,000 or something like that. She says, well, talk about the art of the deal. She says, I wished he'd have done something like that in Congress, because she's still screaming about the wall and everything else. So this is an interesting, I found it kind of comical article. And it's China destroys a sassy robots after they bashed communism. And so these sassy robots, were destroyed after they went rogue by bashing the Communist Party in a messaging app, according to a report last Friday. The chatbots, named Baby Q, and I'm not sure how you pronounce this, XIAO, I'm going to say Zybing, were created to have fun text, message-style conversations with humans via the popular app QQ, according to the UK Telegraph. But when a woman asked Baby Q, do you love the Communist Party, the red, scared robot fired back, no, according to a screenshot posted online. Do you think such corrupt and incapable politics can last a long time? And the robot raged after a second user tapped out the message, long live the Communist Party. But ask if its thoughts on democracy, which I thought was, you know what I think about the word democracy. Baby Q pinned, democracy is a must. So the second robot, Zybing, later waxed philosophical about the perks of being an American. I'm thinking, who programmed these bots? My Chinese dream is to go America. It gushed. The Chinese dream is a daydream and a nightmare. The right-wing bots, which outraged officials in the heavily censored communist country, were deleted by the tech Tencent after a political outburst, the company said in a statement. I'm wondering about the company, the president of the company that put these robots out there. How is his life in danger? It says, yes, Tencent has deleted the 2 robots from the app. The firm said the group chatbot services of QQ are provided by an independent third-party supplier. The chatbots were killed off just a few days after Facebook shut down a pair of artificial intelligent robots that invented their own language. I everything else. One of the robots, dubbed Bob, was caught jabbering to another robot named Alice. They could make their own language and say whatever they want, and so they destroyed them. So the robots go rogue, and they put down the Communist Party and say, yay with democracy, and I want to be an American. So I'm thinking, who programmed these guys?
It really is a slow news day,
That's what happens when, China stole all our intelligence, so I guess that's what happened.
Well, they stole our, I guess, but they didn't steal it. They didn't steal it. They paid for it, and we sold it to them. So we were complicit.
They did pay some, but they did steal a lot too. And but these robots, they went rogue, and I thought it was kind of comical. But they put the robots down. Well, that's what they're doing with the American companies that come over there. They're silencing them. They've got to go in there. There's no First Amendment over there.
But everybody knows that.
I know, but they go over there and they think they're going to be an American.
Anyway, so
they think they're going to be this American company inside this communist regime, and it's not going to work that way. You may be an American company, but right now you're enslaved.
If they're really that dumb, then they kind of get what they what they're asking for. But I just could I'm sorry. I mean, these people get paid millions and billions of dollars, and they make these decisions and thinking that all of a sudden that, we didn't know. And
Well, long live the robots. We have Joe in Arkansas. Joe, how are you today?
Oh, I'm looking forward to when spring comes here. And how are you all?
I'm ready for spring, too.
Yeah. I wanted to say something about the robots, and what you were saying makes me think. I started to wonder about the robots. Could they get spirits? Could these robots actually have spirits? And here's what I think: maybe they could. And that's this. I used to have a friend who was psychic, and she was kind of a hippie type, and she hung around a lot of hippie type people. Those were mostly her friends and everything, people that she associated with. But she would never smoke marijuana or take LSD herself, although her friends were doing that a lot and offered it to her. And so she said the reason why she didn't do that was because she could see into the spirit world what was going on there. And she said that when people took these drugs, it would open holes in their aura, and then spirits that were not a good influence on them could get into them, kind of get into their energy field, she said, and influence them in ways that were not good for them. So she didn't want anything like that to happen to her, so she didn't take any of those drugs. And I also read a similar account where somebody went into a bar one time in Chicago, somebody that could see into the spirit world like that, and saw that when people got very intoxicated, it would open up holes in their aura, and then evil spirits could come in and start influencing them in ways that were not good for them. So I wonder, so apparently there's all these spirits out there in the spirit world always looking for an opportunity to get into some being in the physical world here that they can influence and possess and, do things through and work through in the physical world here. So I wonder if these robots possibly might be such that spirits could actually come into them and, kind of take possession of them, influence them, and so on like that, and start working through them. I wonder if these robots could actually get spirits in them. That's something I'd like to throw out there. I don't know. I don't see into the spirit world myself. I can't see whether that happens or not, but maybe there's somebody that can.
Well, that's interesting. Now, I hadn't heard that about the marijuana, but I can see how that. But I had heard that a long time ago about being hypnotized, you needed to be careful about being hypnotized because you open up a can of worms, so to speak. And but I don't know. I because they're basically they're a computer, but we have seen the Matrix. We've seen the Matrix. So I don't know, Joe. What do you think, Melody?
Oh, Monday morning.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
I suppose I can remember watching, the old sci-fi movies and everything where the machines, kind of like the Matrix, and the machines come to life and they take over. I don't think that means they have a soul. No,
I don't think they have a soul. He was thinking with it, yeah.
But I think you would have to have a soul in order to influence and to take over and so forth.
Well, somebody hacking into these things could do that, and that's another possibility.
That's probably more likely than spirits moving around and finding the robots as a host. So I don't.
Since you're good at making predictions, what does your spirit predict for this week? Do you see anything in the realm of our economy and the dollar and the silver and the gold? Do you see anything going up, down, sideways? Is there anything big? We have elections on Tuesday here in the state of Missouri. Nothing big on the agenda. I say that. We got school board. I think that's big. And alderman, it's big for the community. We don't have anything on the agenda nationally, federally. But do you see anything?
Well, actually, gold. Well, we still, they can also call this Easter Monday, and so I'm not sure if markets are back 100%, so forth. But we had a good day in gold today, and we can continue after the break.
All right, I want to hear about it. All right, we're heading into a break. Your calls are welcome at 717-300-1218. That's 717-300-1218. And Melody and Beth Ann. We'll be right back.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on Internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the Internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening. Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
We were going into that break. Melody was getting ready to tell us.
I was, wasn't I? See, Beth?
You're just dressed and tired. That's all it is. We get you some sleep and some time on the beach, and you'll be fine and dandy.
Well, gold's having a good day today. It's up $11 right now at $1,337, with silver following along at a little over 1.5%, up 25 cents today at $16.71. Pressure on the markets. Dow's down triple digits, and the others are following. Dollar's only weak by 0.07 at 89.91, but crude oil is down a little over $1. And I did have an email that came in. Let me go back to my email real quick. But the question was, why is crude oil prices dropping with gold going up? Donald thought that the two went hand in hand, and not always. I think there could be multiple reasons why you have a little bit of pressure on oil. Oil really has been rising significant lately, so it could just be a little bit of profit taking. You have China getting on to the exchange, future contracts. That could have an impact on the prices. You could actually maybe begin to see a little more of a disconnect. And for those of us who believe, although I didn't expect it to happen in a day, but it could also be that little bit of pressure, we might begin to see that disconnect on the petrodollar. So I think there could be multiple reasons, and one day movement in either direction in any one item doesn't really determine what the trend is going to be. So we'll just have to see how that is. You've got the changeovers, you got the change in oil with the summer coming and the heating oil and everything. So there could be multiple factors why we're seeing a little pressure on oil. And as I said, it could just be as simple as profit taking also. Mm-hmm. So that is my question or my answer to that. So
well, good. So we'll see what the week brings. So
yeah, and we're going to see a lot of volatility this week, I believe. It was a quiet week last week because of the holiday. You have just a tremendous amount of information that comes out. To me, it's all a little bit fake. Some is more fake. Some is more fake than others, but it all
more
has
fake news.
It's all fake news to some degree. So I think it'll be a quiet week unless something major happens. Of course, that's not really a statement. Of course, it's going to be quiet unless something major happens.
Well, like I said, in the state of Missouri, we do have elections tomorrow, and I didn't know if other states. I'm sure we're not the only state with elections tomorrow, and I didn't know how that was going to affect, or if there are any big elections anywhere going on. There's nothing on the federal level, to my knowledge, and I could be getting in trouble with that, but to my knowledge, there's not anything huge on the ballot for tomorrow. We have aldermen and we have school board members on, which is big enough in the community. That's important. I'm not saying that that's not important. It is. In fact, it's more important than some of these yokels we talk about and want to vote on, in the big elections, what they call the big elections. But that was one reason I was asking, if there's anything big going on in other states that's going to affect the economy or the markets and all that good stuff. So gold and silver.
We did have China come out. They did announce that it was posing new tariffs on 128 U.S. products. It's part of the China's response to the metals tariffs. And as you look at these, I think it could have impacts, but how drastic are they really? I did hear comments that China was actually, which I don't believe this, I think this was fake news, that China was going to target Trump's base, the items that would affect them the most, but I don't believe that at all. But the market is, this came out from the Bank of America analyst. He says the market is right in the eye of the storm. And I believe so too. You have Amazon, that's going lower. The Dow has dropped now down 200 points. I'm not sure I agree with, I mean, if Amazon stocks is going lower, it should be based on market principles. It shouldn't be coming from the President of the United States making comments. And that is wrong. It's illegal. And I can't believe no one else is saying anything about it. It's just the same way. And this is all part of Larry Kudlow. And all these guys have all this inside information. They shouldn't be saying things to impact these markets.
Oh yeah.
You know, so the market is following the Amazon, the tech stocks, but we do have a caller. We're getting close to the end of the hour, so we have Tom in Michigan calling us. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to make a quick comment on the killing fields in Vietnam. How, when you say we left them there to die, the South Vietnamese, that's true, but I pretty much lay it at the feet of the Johnson administration. I think, there's a PBS has it's about 17-hour documentary on Vietnam by Ken Burns and Nicole, I forget her last name, where, he has a news clip in there from September of 1963 of Kennedy in an interview with Walter Cronkite, and he says that the political situation in South Vietnam is untenable, and if they don't shape up, which they never would have, that we're going to have to pull out. He was laying the foundation to get us out of Vietnam. He also said in the interview that, it was serious because we've already had something like 57 Americans killed over there. And the first thing Johnson did pretty much when he got in office was, put us full tilt into Vietnam. And that's when, a lot of the lying to the American people. And then Kennedy, I think people knew, and I knew back then that, the magic bullet and all that. We knew that, that Kennedy, something else was going on, but nobody was organized. Everybody trusted their government. And I think that was when we really started, thinking, hey, we can't trust our government anymore. So.
Well, I just know the horror stories from from people that I know were escapees from Vietnam. They were the ones who actually helped the American armies and military when we were over there. And when we just pulled out, we left them there to be slaughtered, and that's exactly what happened to many of those villages. The North Viet Cong came in and just absolutely slaughtered them. Women, children, men, all of them. And those were the ones that were escaping to live. It's not that they didn't love their country, where they grew up, but they had to escape for their lives. And that's the ones that Governor Brown didn't want to have those refugees here in the United States. So
it was a civil war started by the French, to reduce it down to the lowest common denominator. They were back there in, I think it was 1858 when they first colonized Vietnam. They got kicked out by the Japanese, and then they somehow talked us into letting the Japanese back in. We were great pals with Vietnam because, we pretty much cleaned the Japanese out of there during after World War II. And the French wanted their colonies back and threatened to side with Stalin if we didn't support them and their colonies. And that's basically what split the country in two. And, as a terrible thing for us to get caught in that political mess. And I think Kennedy realized it and wanted to get us out. But, it's all history now. So,
it is.
That's a great series. if you want to ever know the history, the first 3 episodes, I'd say about the first 6 hours or so gives a really detailed history of what happened, about the French pulling out and leaving it to us, and horrible thing, but history. Yeah. So thank you for taking my call.
All right. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it so much.
And it won't be the last.
No, it won't, unfortunately. I hear the music, and we're heading in to the end of the hour. We're out of time. We will be back on Tuesday with you. That's Melody and Beth Ann with Power Talks in the morning, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn. The Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the Scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today, so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.